And welcome to day 4 of Love Your Lettering, which is refining your letters. Thank you so much for hanging in there while you waited for me to get back home. Hello and happy Monday. Good afternoon. Sorry, I was a little frantic. So I hope your weekend was great. Thank you so much for those of you that understood that I did not scope yesterday. It ended up being a little bit crazier than we initially thought. We didn't even get home from church until 7 at night. And then by that time I was getting ready for Downton Abbey. So hi Jenny. I hope your weekend was great and that this extra time of off gave you time to catch up to what we had already done from the previous week. So hopefully that time was beneficial for you guys. It was amazing. I am so glad they ended it in all the right places, but I still want more. I want the story to go on for at least another decade, because that's how I am. I get caught up in stories. I grew up as a reader. I'm not going to give any spoilers. I grew up as a reader and I devoured books because I got so involved with the characters, and so now I'm kind of like that with TV too. Downton Abbey was just the type of book that I would read and go on and on and on. So kind of it's sad to see it go, but anyway, so it was good. I had a good weekend. I'm so glad that you guys are all back. Sorry that I'm over a half hour late. We ended up running out to Hobby Lobby and Aldi because my son is actually working on some leather crafts and needed some more supplies. So by the time we got back home, we were stuck behind a school bus, and here we are. But today we are going to chat about refining your handwriting. And so we're going to go over the alphabet in print and in cursive and just kind of real old school basic penmanship, which, probably we all hated when we were in elementary school, but it doesn't have to be all that bad. We can have a little fun with it, and understanding that when we pay attention to this aspect of handwriting, it actually helps us when we get into the creative lettering, because we know all the proper rules and then we know how to break them with style. It's nice to meet you all. So for those of you that are here for maybe the first time for a live scope, our afternoon sessions are supposed to be a little bit less chatty, and I haven't started yet, and that's why I'm chatting and catching up with you guys. But once I start the instruction, I'm not going to follow the comments too much, because I'm going to work on just getting some straight instruction and keeping that kind of timely. And then I will open it up for questions and answers after I've covered what the daily assignment is. That way, hopefully, when I get the time, I can move some of these videos over to YouTube, because there have been people that have asked for the videos without the chat, which I love the chat. I don't know. But I'm going to try and find that happy medium. When I come back on in the evening at the 9:30 p.m. Eastern time slot, that is a bit more of a chatty scope. I do the same demonstration, but it's a little more interactive. So hopefully between the two sessions, you can find something that feels right for you and kind of uses your time the best. Bless you. So that's where we are. So I'm going to get ready to get into our instruction for today. Thank you so much for joining me for 31 days to love your lettering. We are doing the day 4 assignment, which is refining your handwriting. My name is Lisa. I blog at CreativLEI.com, which is looking at life creatively. This series was originally written in October of 2015, and this month we are going through just another live demonstration version of it. It's all the same posts. They're available on CreativLEI.com/loveyourlettering. You'll be able to find the index page there of all the daily assignments. So we're going to get right down to work with today's assignment, which is refining your handwriting. So we're going to talk about basic print and basic cursive. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around so that I can show you my work. So bear with me, put the lights on. Okay. So here was my sample of some print and some cursive, and I'm going to go ahead and write that for you now so you can watch along. Sorry, there's pens all over the desk. So let's get the tripod all fixed. I do turn the notebook sideways for demonstrations just because that gives me more paper surface within the screen to show you. All right, so I am working on the 5x5 grid for this, but I think I'm actually going to flip it to the 4-inch square grid because it'll be a little bit easier for you guys to see the letters. I'm using a Zig Millennium pen, which is a fine line pen. It's a pigment ink, and this is a 0.8 tip, which is a good size for me for showing you so that you can see it. It's one of the broader size of the fine tip pens, and the ink dries fairly quick, so I don't have too much problem as a lefty with smearing. So let me get my clip over here. Alright, so I'm going to work on keeping the letters kind of probably 2 squares high. That way it's nice and big. And when we're working on these, we're really going to focus on getting some nice big open letters. I'm like leaning on pens here, not good. Alright, so we have an A. And I'm not really adding any character to these letters, really just kind of stick and ball letters, so to speak. So the graph paper helps give me kind of a guideline for how to open up those letters and make them nice and big and just kind of clean strokes. And the M I've done a little bit wider. Okay. So I know that seems kind of primary and kind of basic and boring, but just trust me, we want to do this because it helps get us prepared for the creative stuff later on. So I'll do a line of uppercase as well, which are the majuscule letters. Lowercase is also called minuscule. I'm holding the paper landscape again just so that I have more real estate to show you guys on the screen. You can hold the book however is most comfortable. So there you have a very basic print. Okay, so let's get some. And then I also did a couple of sentences and phrases just to kind of look at the spacing between the lettering. So let's see. Here we are. Refining. let each letter have some space. I think in our natural handwriting, we tend to cram everything together, and because we're in haste and speed, and we're just like letting go of the space between each letter, the space between our words, and sometimes we have letters that end up running together. And the thing to keep in mind is that we are going to learn the rules so we can see, and as I get faster, I get more slanted. Break them. With flair. So tomorrow and later this week, we're going to talk about how we can alter letters and add whimsy. So there you have, oh, sorry. There is a basic print alphabet sample. Thank you. Yep, just writing the alphabet in print, lowercase, uppercase, just a couple sentences, similar to how we started with our natural handwriting sample the other day. This is just kind of a sample of print, and now I'm going to also do a sample of cursive. Let me get another. Again, today's topic was refining your handwriting, and by doing that, we're just looking at basic print and basic cursive. So again, I'm going to try to keep, sorry, I've got pens in the way. Thank you. Basic, one letter in each square. And I know everyone has learned kind of a different style of cursive, and this just kind of goes to the basics that I learned. And I don't remember whether it was Danielian or what. I just consider this like grade school cursive. And then I'll move my hand out of the way in just a minute. Okay, so there's our minuscule or lowercase cursive. And let's see, I'll give you some uppercase also. And again, this will go back to kind of the cursive that I learn and remember. I know we've all learned somewhat different styles. When I was growing up, I did not like this Q because it looked like a 2. But now that I'm older and I do creative lettering also, I absolutely love that Q. Most of us don't enjoy learning cursive, but it's kind of necessary for doing brush lettering later on. And if you wanted to do copperplate calligraphy, kind of need this foundation. Okay. And then the other thing that I do when I'm practicing cursive is I'll write a couple of letter couplets, because sometimes the letters change a little bit depending on what we're connecting them to. So you can just choose any couplets. Thanks. QU, of course, because we'll always see those two together. CK, CH, kind of those common ones. TH. So I kind of bounce between two different styles of cursive lowercase n's. I don't know if you find that you do the same thing. Okay. And then I'll write that same phrase as, well, here, a reminder that we all need. And then, again, we will So if you notice when I'm doing cursive, I sometimes lift the pen between letters because I'm so used to doing brush lettering, which is more creative lettering than it is penmanship. Where in standard script and cursive, it would be a continued word. So in print, I did flare in all caps, but I wanted to show you what happens when you do all caps in cursive. It kind of looks sloppy to me. I don't think that you can get away with all of the same style things that you do in cursive and print. I think you have to kind of take notice of it. Yeah, it just doesn't look as nice. Like when you do it in print, you're kind of getting some punch. But when you do it in cursive, all caps, it looks a little jumbled. It's not like a monogram or anything like that. That would certainly be a different reason to use all caps. But it doesn't achieve that same goal. So I thought that that was kind of a neat thing that I kind of looked at, kind of stumbled on by accident, is that, you know, just all the rules that we do with print are not necessarily translated right over to cursive. Sometimes we have to change things up a little bit. So if you're finding that when you're writing, you don't exactly like the way something looks, or something just doesn't strike you as looking right, switch it up a little bit and see if that helps at all. So there is your sample page of basic cursive. And again, you may have learned a slightly different style, and that's fine too. The main goal of this lesson was just to go back to very basic print and very basic cursive so that we can make sure that we're forming these letters correctly and practicing them correctly, because later, tomorrow and the day after, when we talk about switching it up, making whimsical lettering, we're going to need to know what the proper formation of these letters is before we go ahead and make those changes. So there you have the demonstration for day 4, which is refining your handwriting. We had cursive and print. And I'm going to go ahead and open it now for some questions. All right, thank you guys for hanging in there. I'm trying to get those blocks of instruction down without the chatting, so hopefully we'll kind of find the pattern in there. Thank you so much, those of you that joined in a little bit later after I had already started. I'm certainly not ignoring your comments, but during these afternoon scopes, my hope is to keep the instruction part less chatty for those that can't stick around. And then I do have the question and answers towards the end, and then the evening session is just a little bit more chatty. For lowercase, you use some word mini something, minuscule and majuscule. So uppercase letters are also called majuscule, and lowercase letters are called minuscule, and that was in the blog post for this assignment. On the capital letters, am I using 2 or 4? It depends. Let me turn back to those pages. Sorry, and I'm flipping my book because I'm going from the 4x4 to the 5x5. Okay, so the cursive is at a slight slant, so they're basically 2-ish, 2.5 tall, and then a little bit more than 1. It's not a full 2. I'm not using a 2x2 square. I'm using, I don't know if you can see, it's going slightly out of 1 maybe, if that makes sense. And then for the print, I'm basically stayed 1 square over and 2 squares up. I do, and you'll have to correct me. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's either Kana or Kana or Sana. You have to correct me, give me the phonetic pronunciation of your name. I do enjoy what I'm doing. I absolutely love lettering and all things artsy and crafty. So there you have that. I'll give you guys just a couple more minutes if there's any other questions. And then I know I ran quite a bit late today, so I'm going to hop over. Where do you get my lettering guide from? I have not put out a lettering guide yet. I'm going back to kind of basics of what I've learned over the past and kind of pulling together lots of different style things that, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, this part will not be on YouTube. Sorry about that. The lines are squares, that notebook. Okay, this is a graph paper notebook from Staples, and it has 4 square and 5 square per inch. And so one side of the book is 4 squares per inch and the other side is 5. So I thought that for today's instructional purpose, it would be good to put the 4 square per inch for showing. But I know previously I've been working on the 5 square per inch, and that's just personal preference. Yeah, 5 squares per inch is the little squares. Okay, yeah, in Mexico you probably are getting the 5 square per inch. It's probably closer to metric. All right. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and close this broadcast. And we will be back later tonight and then again tomorrow for the next session, which is altering your letters. If you have any questions after I've finished the broadcast, you can send me a message at CreativLEI.com. You can email me from there or find me on Facebook as CreativLEI, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope at CreativLEI, Pinterest, Creatively Made, and catch.me/CreativLEI. You're so very welcome. You guys were awesome. All right, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for being here. Bye-bye.